So anyway, how do smart women deal with men in commitment? Like, how does that really happen? And I promise you, ladies, that I will answer your questions after I get finished. So don't panic. Pop them in the chat, and I will make sure that I get a chance to answer your questions. So I knew I had to hop on and talk about this because here's what happened. I went to a wedding. Client got married. We praise God for that. We love weddings. And yes, I am the wedding crasher. All my coaching clients know that when you get married, I'm just going to invite myself to your wedding. I won't even wait for the invitation. And I'm very civilized about it. You ain't have to wait. If the numbers are tight, don't worry about it. I won't even stay for the reception. I won't even eat anything. You want to pay for me, I'll just come sit quietly in the back of the church, whatever the venue is, and just be excited for you. Anyway, so I'm at this wedding, and I'm, talking to this couple. And just so you all know, for those of you who don't know me, like I should have a bold warning label tattooed on my forehead, because I am so committed to what I do, the work that I do, that I will ask anything. Like if I find a guy or if I'm talking to somebody, I will ask them anything. Like, especially when I'm in research mindset, no question is off limits. So anyway, this guy, he's busy telling me that he's at the wedding and he's so happy for the groom. The groom's one of his best friends, and he's so happy and he can't wait until it's his turn. So I was like, oh, okay. I said, were you in a relationship? He said, no, but I'm seriously, actively looking. Like, I'm at that place now where I want to get settled down. I was like, okay. I said, well, have you been in a serious relationship? He said, oh yeah. He said, my last relationship was 8 years. You all, I wish I could say that I kept a straight face, but you all know I leaned in and looked at that joker. 8 years. So then I asked him how old he was, because he needed to be like 16, and he started dating a girl at 8 in order to make this make sense for me, in order to be like, okay. He was almost 40. So now I'm thinking, okay, some woman who obviously did not know your girl, because I would have clearly helped her to see what was going on, gave up 8 years of her life to this guy and still didn't get the commitment. Now he's at a wedding being intentional about wanting to get a commitment. So your girl had to ask. I said, so why didn't you commit? Why didn't it not culminate into a commitment and a marriage? So you all wait for this, because this was really going to blow you away. He said, and yes, he looked me in my good eye, and he said, because I didn't have to. Yep. He said, because I didn't have to. So basically, he was all in, friends with benefits. Wait, he starts telling me, he's like, oh, she was a good girl. She was nice and blah, blah, blah. She's a great cook. So she's cooking and doing all this stuff for him. And he said he did not commit because he didn't have to. Now, listen, I am not saying this from a place of judgment, because I was once a terminal girlfriend. Yes, I have been her. For those of you who don't know, a terminal girlfriend is that girl, I've been her, who the relationship will die and you will still just be the girlfriend. Terminal. There's never, you're never going beyond just a girlfriend. Even if he even gives you that, you might not even be called a girlfriend. You might just be in a situationship. I've been her too, but I didn't stay in there too long. Now, that is why I'm so passionate about what I do. Ladies, I cannot see women, good women, quality women of worth, giving up 8 years and not getting the commitment that you deserve. Now, I know for some of you, just the idea of having any kind of commitment talk is already making your head hurt. You're like, I can't. I get it. But here's what happens when you have absolutely zero idea how a guy really feels about you. Your thoughts, and I know, again, I've been there, so I am not saying this from a place of judgment. But your mind is constantly spinning. is he my future? Does he really like me? Where is this going? Is he ever going to commit? Is he God's best? And just a side note, if he is God's best, he will commit. So you never have to worry about that. If God's best is going to commit. Anyway, here's the problem with all that. It causes you to show up all wrong in any kind of relationship, any kind of dating experience. That just causes you to show up all wrong because now you've got all this negative energy that actually could push him away, right? So there's one of two things. Either you don't know how to have the talk and you end up just blowing it, or you're so intimidated by the entire idea of bringing it up. And so you don't do anything. You just hope and pray. You're in your prayer closet. You just praying this thing through. Now listen, I believe in the power of prayer. But even the Bible, y'all, says faith without works is dead. Like you got to do something. You got to give God something to work with. So how do you have that talk without looking desperate or needy or any of those kind of things? First, I'm going to tell you what not to do. Do not assume. Now, you may think everything is going great and you may think he's all in and, after 2 dates, you're ready to come off your dating app or you're ready to close out all your options and all these things. Don't do it. Don't assume where he is. Keep your options open because this is what it does. While your options are still open, you're not solely focused on him. Keep doing things with your friends, family. If you're on a dating app or if you're meeting people, you're going out, like keep your life as full as it ever was so that he's not your sole focus. And do not assume that because you are all in, that that's where he is. The second thing is, and y'all, I have to say it, and I hate having to say this, but it just bears being said. Don't get religious on the man. 2 hours into the date, you prophesying that the Lord showed you that that's going to be your husband and you got the kids in the house and this, like whatever your dream looks like, you already with a word from the Lord. Don't get religious about this thing. I love the Lord, but do not get religious on the man and scare him half to death. Okay? Now, here's what I need you to do. I need you to get out of your feelings. Like if you're going to have this kind of conversation, you cannot have a meaningful conversation with a guy if you're all in your feelings. How do I know? Again, I've seen this thousands of times and I've been there. Because emotions, we all have emotions, but they're a good thing until they're not. And when you're all in your feelings where he's not saying anything you don't know, and now you're feeling some kind of way, or maybe he did something that you didn't like, and that triggered the fact that you don't even know where you stand. You don't even know where this thing is going. However you get into your feelings, do not have any kind of conversation like this while you're in your feelings. Because guess what? Men can't handle being an emotional train wreck. They don't know what to do with it. I promise you. So what happens is you put him in a position where now he doesn't even know what to do with it, and it never goes well. Never goes well. Y'all trust me on this. So get out of your feelings and watch this. If you are in your feelings, and here's the truth. If you're in your feelings, say nothing until you get it together emotionally. Because emotional train wreck, like if you're always in your feelings and he's triggering you, that is a red flag for you that you've got some relationship baggage or that you're carrying, or maybe you've got some insecurities, some toxic dating patterns, and that is telling you that you're not relationship ready. So you can't have the conversation. In fact, you can't even show up well with that going on. And so that's one of the things that I do with my women is you've got to be relationship ready, because it should not be that hard to have this conversation if you're in a good space. So get out of your feelings. You don't want to have this conversation. I mean, the soonest you would ever have a conversation like this, and this is assuming you live in the same place where you're getting to know each other, having meaningful conversation, you're actually actively dating and connecting, at least 2 months. Just enjoy the process for at least 2 months. And now you're out of your feelings. And oh, by the way, how do you know if you're not in your feelings? Because anything that's ever happened to you in the past, any betrayal, any hurt, any breakup, any dead end relationship, any ghosting, you name it, any of those things are a matter of fact and not a feeling. Meaning you can talk about it, think about it, tell somebody what happened and it doesn't put you into your feelings. It's the facts of your life. Like me, I've been ghosted, stood up, betrayed, cheated on the whole 9 yards. But I can talk about it because it's the facts of my life. It doesn't trigger me into any kind of feeling. So now you're not in your feelings. You're going to share where you are in this situation, but what I call balanced vulnerability. What does that look like? You don't spew everything and just, word vomit every single thing, every feeling you ever had with him. You just want to very calmly, with kindness and grace, articulate how you feel, that you're enjoying getting to know him, that you enjoy spending time with him, whatever similarities you all may have. You share that and it's all good, right? Because that's where you are. And here's the critical part, ladies, then you pivot. And you pivot and you make it about you. Now, I need to give you all, some of you all need permission. When you make it about you and it's time to have this kind of conversation, this does not mean you are selfish. It means you are wise and you are serious about finding love and having commitment. So you're going to summon that inner courage and take back your personal power. And you're going to have what I call prize perspective. Again, this is all the kind of stuff I work with my ladies, because you should be able to have this conversation. It should not be that hard because you have prize perspective. You are the prize. So your perspective is you're good. Your confidence is good. You are the prize. So having this conversation is just a part of the situation, right? And that's why I tell people, look, dating is not for the faint of heart, because you have to have a level of vulnerability. There's a level of risk. And so that's why your confidence, you have to be so good with knowing your worth, have your confidence, your identity. All of those things must be resolved before you start trying to be in a serious relationship, because you don't want your confidence or your identity or any of these things attached to a guy that could be a dead-end relationship. So with grace and kindness and a smile, you're just going to look at him and find out. You're going to share who you are. This is why you need clarity on who you actually are. Like, who are you really outside of your education, your job? Who are you? What you value. And you should be able to, again, articulate this very clearly. This is who I am. This is what I value. And this is what I want for my future. Again, if you're not able to do this, then that means there's work for you to do. So you want to make it plain. You're not in your feelings. You're doing it with kindness, grace, not triggered, no confrontation. And you just make it plain where you are, because this is your life and this is about you. So then here's what happens. Once he sees that you're able to be vulnerable, he can feel safe with you. If he has the potential to commit, he's going to share where he is, share what he sees for his future, share what he values. If he doesn't, and I have to prepare you ladies, because struggle is real. If he doesn't, then what happens is he's showing you, if he's not going to even entertain that now, he's not going to entertain it in the future. So it could be a year, 6 years, 5, 8 years. He's showing you that he's not even trying to kind of vision cast. Okay. And in fact, when you do this, this gives him what I call the exit ramp. This will help you avoid getting ghosted, because sometimes the reason you get ghosted is because they don't even know what to do with you. Like, they don't see a future. They don't know, maybe they're not responding to your text, or they're giving you that one word answer like, hey, Kay, that kind of thing. But it's not really going anywhere. He doesn't see the exit ramp off the freeway. You're creating this exit ramp. And ladies, you want the wrong one, the imposter, the one that's not God's best. You want that joker to take the exit ramp off your life, because the longer you tolerate him, the longer it takes you to get to the man that God does have for you. And that's what I want for you. That's what I'm here for. So I know it's not easy to think that maybe the talk isn't going to go as well as you'd like, but you definitely want to know, because you don't want to look up 8 years later with regret. And one of the reasons it's so hard to have this conversation is kind of that fear, like, it's that scarcity mindset, like, I won't ever find a great guy, I won't ever get committed, I won't ever get married, or find love again, or believe in love again, or whatever your story is. It's that lack of confidence, that lack of clarity. Those are all things that make this so hard. That's why I do the work that I do, because this should not be hard for you, but it's so, so necessary. And again, I know it's hard. And I'm not even trying to diminish it. It's hard for some of you, but again, that's a cause for you to say, okay, what's going on with me? Because again, prize perspective, I'm the prize. You know, the Bible says when he finds you, he finds a good thing. I'm the prize. I'm a good thing. This should not be that hard for me. Okay. All right. All right, ladies. There it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer some questions. Pop your questions in the chat. Wait, Marie said that was a common law marriage, 8 years. I know that's right. Hey, Jen. So, anybody have any questions, anything for me that can kind of help you work through some stuff? Because I don't want to keep you all evening. I know people have things to do, so I'm not going to stay on too long. I promise myself, I always say I'm only going to get on here for a few minutes. And then I get on here and just start talking because I love what I do. Okay, Jen says that's you. You're intimidated. Okay. You know, Jen, that's again, you have to ask yourself why. What's going on with you and what perspective do you have? Your prize perspective that has you feeling intimidated by this, because this should not be intimidating. I understand how it can be. It used to be for me as well. But again, that's that prize perspective where you recognize your worth and the value you bring to the table. And it's his misfortune if he doesn't have the capacity for it, or he doesn't understand it, or he doesn't recognize it. Okay. So that's kind of, you know, the upside of it. And, you know, again, I want better for you all, because I promise you, when that guy told me 8 years because he didn't have to, my heart sank. But I've seen it. I've seen it so many times, but it was just so kind of plain and in your face. And oh, by the way, he's at a wedding now looking to be committed. What does that tell you? Okay. So, are paid dating sites better than the free ones? So in my experience with my clients, yes, but I will say this. So none of that really matters if you're not showing up right, because you can be on a paid site, but if you've got if you're not relationship ready, if you've got any kind of baggage, you don't have your clarity, your confidence game up, then you could be paying money for a dating site, but you're not showing up in a way that's your position to be able to build and have a meaningful connection to attract the type of guy that's actually going to be right for you. So I've had clients who've been on paid sites that ended up getting, you know, in a committed relationship, and they were very pleased with it. But I've had clients who meet a guy in the supermarket or have